The snow once again was painted red with blood. Haldor's jaw was tight as he took in the details of the massacre. The corpses of Ironwings lay bent and broken, scattered across the plateau like refuse. Scorch marks from the flaming breath scarred the land. Their Wingard riders had met the same fate. Bodies carved, skulls caved in. The culprit, a dweller, slender and multi-limbed and horrific in its wrongness, also lay slain amid the carnage. And worst of all by far, the lifeless form of the Skeldian Queen Erin stared into the pitiless white sky through glassy eyes. Ill tidings indeed. Not 2 days hence Haldor had stooped into the great hearth of the Stormrazers, listening to the young Queen Eria. Warder's only heir, but nothing at all like her late mother. Say the words he'd never thought he'd hear.
We, as monarch of Skeld, hereby offer the Valkyrian people our humblest apology, though we know that words could never make right the wrongs we've enacted. Kidnap, torture, murder. These acts are unconscionable. Today, if you will allow it, I intend to change that. We vow to end the oppression of your people and to provide them with vital resources. If you'll agree to keep these lands safe in our name.
None had mentioned the rumors that had reached their ear of the true cause of the lead-hearted queen's demise, the massive bite marks found on her body, or what remained of it. But such speculation was no use to the Stormrazers here, nor did they dwell over long on the political upheaval that was no doubt engulfing Skeld, even as they spoke. An acceptable chance to protect his people was being offered, and Haldor had been raised not to look a gift dragon in the maw, but now he knelt beside Queen Erin. He sighed, closing her eyes and placing the nearest spear on her lifeless body. He did not hate her, but more than that, he hoped that an end to the fighting might finally be in sight. How naive he'd been, how foolish to hope. He knew that his people would be blamed for this act of regicide, that the fighting would rage on, fiercer than ever. He shook his head, stood, and walked over to the dead dweller. They took it down with them, at least. Haldor only grunted. He had a doubt. The slain stone snout they found at the sanctuary had been oozing rancid green mucus from its wounds, but no such substance was to be found in the injuries here. He knew, though that was weak evidence, unlikely to persuade anyone that the attack had been more than it seemed. He could prove nothing. He poked the dead dweller with his axe, turning it over. He frowned. There was a set of footprints, originating at the site of the melee and disappearing into the range. From the drag of a left foot and the smearing of blood over the snow, it looked like whoever had escaped was badly injured. Haldor scanned the scene, doing quick calculations in his head. 4 slain Ironwings, but only 3 Wingard bodies. One got away. Coward! Still, she won't get far. The range isn't kind to lone Skeldians, on foot no less. Haldor only grunted in response to that. Perhaps. Before turning to leave. The fighting would soon resume, and there was much to do.